Yo, yo, what up? What up? Yo, what up? What up? Hey, hey, welcome. Welcome to Benny's crib. What up? Yeah, just leave your shoes over there. It's cool. Yeah, thanks. Does that sound cool? Yo, what up? Welcome to Benny's crib.
Yeah, I got
Beautiful
it.
people, we are live here with a supporter of Rhyme Beats, supporter of the local scene, a hip hop artist, a producer, someone out here doing it, and that is Kid Calvin. They also go by Jay Dunks when they're producing. Regardless, how are you, my friend?
Yay. Hey, I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks for being here,
All
yo.
love. Yeah, of course.
Here at Benny's Crib,
It's
it's
good to
obviously
finally
about.
be on here.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's all about boosting up community, and I feel like you're someone who's big on boosting their community.
Oh,
So
for sure. 100%. Yeah.
we wanted to reciprocate those vibes as I pull up my questions.
Hell
Well,
yeah.
for the people at home, as I mentioned, we have a Portland area, Southern Maine area hip hop artist here, and we'll get into their story. We'll get into their sagas and tales. But before that, let's start it off with the first question I ask everybody. You probably already know this, Kid Calvin. What's your first memory of hip hop?
My first memory of hip hop. I knew it was coming. I was excited
Hey,
to tell it.
hey,
So, back in 87, I was on the bus ride to one of my kindergarten days. My homie, my friend at the time, was like, "Yo, I stole this tape from my brother," and it was a 2 Live Crew tape, nasty as they want to be, and we were behind the back seat, like facing out of the bus, like what the kids did,
yeah.
just bumping that, and I was like, "Whoa, what the fuck is this?"
That's
And I
some
loved it.
dirty music for a little kid to be listening to, man.
Yeah, I was on the shit way early, like my whole life. I was already kind of like ahead of shit,
Yeah,
I guess.
there's no turning back too. Once you hear
No,
is Me So Horny on that album? I think it
yeah, it
is, right? Yeah,
is.
once you hear Me
Yeah,
So Horny at age 5 or 6,
yeah,
there's no turning back.
yeah. I
You're in
was
a
6
different
at the
world.
time. It was crazy. Yeah,
Love it. Well, that's a
yeah,
funny memory, man. Very
yeah,
playful,
dude.
very youthful in a sense, a bunch of
For
young
real.
kids listening to dirty music, not even knowing what the
Yep.
hell they're talking about yet.
Nope. No idea at all. Yeah.
Love it. Well, where are you from,
Yeah. Oh
Mr. Kid
man.
Calvin?
So I'm from a little bit of everywhere. I was born in San Diego,
Okay.
California. After that, we were in Wyoming for a little while. We
Mm,
were in Virginia, Colorado, North Carolina, New York, but mainly in New York, Rochester area, and then
gotcha.
Texas, Arlington, Texas, and
Wow.
then up in the Bangor area. I did all of high school up in Bangor.
Oh, sweet. That makes a
And
lot of
then
sense.
yeah, and then after I graduated high school, I traveled around with bands like within the hardcore and metal scenes. That was kind
Mm,
of my thing, and then came back to Maine.
no shit.
Yeah,
Were you like
yeah.
in a military family or did you just travel a lot?
uh, when I was born, my dad was in the Navy, but my parents split not too long after that. Within the
Gotcha.
first like 4 or 5 years,
Mm,
we were on the road with him and his band for a while. Like
mm,
right after I was born, he like left the Navy. I was born when he was on the ship out to sea. He came back
yeah.
home. He started traveling with his band. We lived in the traveling van with them and just traveled around as young kid.
Oh,
Yeah,
damn. So are
real
your first
young.
memories of life pretty much based in traveling?
What I can remember, yeah.
Yeah. Shit. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
that's a
really
big
interesting.
chunk of my life. Yeah,
I'm trying to
yeah, that
think.
was crazy.
I don't want to
We
skip all
went from
that.
like San Diego to Wyoming. Was like kind of we traveled around before we settled into Wyoming.
Understood. Understood. Damn. Because yeah, you've
Yeah,
been everywhere. It sounds like in the states. Like West,
yeah,
Midwest, East Coast, South. That's pretty
yeah.
wild.
A little bit
Um,
here and there. Yeah.
do you have any heavy memories like that stick out like that were like the most wild stories during your travels like before you kind of got to Bangor?
uh kind of, yeah. So I was in Bangor for a little while and then I went back out to Texas and in middle school in Texas. So like I was back bouncing back and forth between Maine and Texas in middle school. So I'd
Mm.
be like half a school year here, half a school year here,
Oh, that's
just
tough.
getting into trouble, getting
Yeah.
bounced back and around. Um, but Texas, man, I was dealing with like being the only white kid in a gang area, like Latin Kings, and like me being a dumbass was like dating some girl who used to date some guy, and then there was some beef, and like
Oh, no.
yeah.
Yeah, it'd be
It
like
was a
that.
stomp down. You know, it is what it is. But
Yeah.
you know, shit like that. Real young, you learn. I mean, you kind of learn how the real world is. And then coming back to Maine after that, it was just like, all right, I see what's up. Like
I
I
like how
see
you
what's
said
going
that.
on.
The
Like,
real world. Yeah,
yeah.
because people get the ass beat a lot more in the real world. People don't really get the ass
Yeah.
beat that much in Maine. Maybe they should.
No.
I'm not gonna say why, but
I
there's some
mean,
people acting. Not that I endorse violence either. I just like a lot of
no.
people
No.
can be more out of pocket in this state because they don't get checked enough. That's kind of what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
definitely.
And not that you were out
Definitely.
of pocket either. Just in
No.
general, a lot of people
Yeah.
run their mouth and they don't know what they're talking about because they live in like little white privilege bubbles out here. So
Yeah.
you go to other states,
Exactly.
other country, or other parts of the country, it ain't really like that, yo.
No.
Not
No.
Damn. Well,
For real.
what made you settle in Bangor for high school? Was it like a family that moved here?
Yeah, so my mom was always here. She was like a single mom raising me and my sister and trying to go through school, trying to become like a professor.
Mm.
She went and got her doctorate. Like,
Wow.
she went the full route. She was doing grad school, everything like that. So we bounced around because she kept going from school to school.
Yeah.
And then she was out here permanently. And then I was like, I just stayed out here because I had a lot of friends out here.
Mm.
And I dug like the skate scene out here. And I found my pocket of people and just kind of like ran with them. And then that was like, it just works. It fit my vibe. It's a little
Hell yeah.
more low key out here in Maine.
Yeah. Definitely went more
Yeah.
low key.
Yeah.
You touched upon some things, maybe hardcore music, skateboarding. But what were your hobbies as a youngin for the most part, as a teen?
Yeah, it was skateboarding and art. Like 87, the same year I found that tape, I was learning how to skateboard. Like I was getting raised by like the neighborhood kids, like university housing. So like teenagers in the park and preteens and stuff were teaching us real young kids. So like I was just skating constantly and constantly drawing and like listening to music. So that was literally my whole life. But I also played like basketball. Like basketball was my thing
I
for a
love
long
that.
time.
I'm a huge
Yeah.
basketball fan. I got the garden right here,
Yeah.
TD Garden, man.
Hell yeah. I see.
I like that, man. Sweet.
Yeah.
Were you in a hardcore band, by the way? Because you mentioned that, or was it just like the scene that you like to be a part of?
Yeah, it was in a couple bands. One that only did like touring and like small touring down the
Mhm.
East Coast and stuff like that. It was like a metalcore band, like real extreme. There was two singers, me and another guy, and like talking like real deep growls and high pitched screaming and like just fucking noise and yeah, mosh pits and shit like that. And that was like my life, and like also just going to shows every day.
Mhm.
I was like working at Bull Moose at the time up in Bangor, and I was getting like on the free guest list to all the hardcore shows and like
Oh,
going out to
nice.
mass and stuff. So that
Nice.
was just like, that was the whole thing for a long time.
Love that, yo.
And then I did that band for quite a while. Yeah.
Sweet, because a question that I also like to ask, as you may know, is, was music around in your youth or your upbringing? Because I find a lot of times people who are so into music now as adults, that theme was almost carrying over from childhood. And you've already mentioned your dad left the Navy and was in a band, I believe, and you've been in bands. So can you just elaborate more on the influence of music in your life as a youngin?
Oh yeah, definitely. My mom was also a huge music fan, big hippie from the 70s. Like she was born in 54. She loved all music. So like growing up, we always had a record player in the house, the big tower stereo.
Oh, I
We
love
had the
those.
cassette tapes. We were always listening to that stuff. Even as a little kid, she had like Winnie the Pooh on record, and she'd be singing that to me when I'm in my high chair. Like I
Oh,
don't
man.
remember it, but she was telling me
Yeah.
stories,
Yeah.
stuff like that. And then like getting older, MTV was always on in the house because it always played music. So like we'd be
Back
getting
in
up.
the day.
Yeah, we'd be getting up, eating our cereal, getting ready for school. Tribe Called Quest, what's a scenario would pop on. We'd all be rapping along to it. Me, my mom, and sis. Like that That's always kind of been my life. And like my mom and I've always like, well, when she was here, God rest her soul, we were always sharing music and talking about music and how influential and major it is, and just it, yeah.
Heavy, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
it's been
beautiful.
heavy in my life. Yeah.
I love that because I wanted to more get into you as a hip hop fan and when you became
Yeah.
more of a hip hop fan. And it sounds like, at least from the jump in your earliest memories, as a lot of artists have been saying on this podcast, hip hop has always been around. I mean, since like
Yeah.
the mid 80s, it's just been a part of the culture. But I
Oh,
really wanted to get
definitely.
more into you becoming a fan of it so passionately, whereas you almost want to create and become a part of it as a, an artist.
Yeah.
When did you really start to develop a heavy interpersonal relationship with a hip hop, perhaps as a listener first?
Ah, that's hard to pinpoint. Like it was always there. Um, growing up. So like with the skateboarding skate videos, always had hip hop in it. Like
So true.
we would be discovering things like that, or like reading articles in magazines that would be like shoplifted from the local store. Like that was just kind of like what we did. But like I'm trying to think of, I would say like once I was in high school, I really started delving deep into underground and like really searching. At the time I was also doing that with hardcore, but also with hip
Mm,
hop. I always kind of was.
mm.
um I was digging for new music. I always kind of, I was on the LimeWire back in the day and all
Oh
those,
yeah,
like, it
Frostwire.
was, yeah, it was always kind of like MySpace music, stuff like that. Like,
Yeah.
and then once I got hired at Bull Moose, I got put on to like ordering through Fat Beats and Ruckus Records. Like we had a call direct, and I became like the guy ordering the indie hip hop and
Well,
the
you would
the
align to
indie.
Rockets like in the what, late 90s, early 2000s?
That was early 2000s.
That's a
So I
huge.
graduated high school in 2000. I got hired then until like 2003. I worked there.
Hell yeah, damn.
Yeah.
When I worked at Bull Moose too, that was one of my favorite aspects, was that I could hit all these major distribution companies directly
Yeah.
through our point of sale system and
It's
then be
so
like,
crazy.
what's on inventory? Oh,
Yeah.
like I picked up Rock Marciano's Reloaded on vinyl recently, and that was, not in the store, but I could order it from, the factory. Sometimes it's
Yeah.
overseas too. Like I've gotten some
Oh yeah.
random shit like Jay Dilla, The Shining instrumentals. I believe I got that from Europe. And here's the cool thing too. I don't know if this happened when you were at Bull Moose, because vinyl, I don't think it necessarily was as revived at that
Not
point
so
yet.
much. Yeah.
More expensive and a lot of bootlegs
Yeah.
too. A lot of the vinyl I have
Yeah.
from like 2000 to 2010-ish, maybe a couple of years after and before that,
Yeah.
is bootleg shit. It doesn't
Oh,
sound good.
definitely. Yeah.
Like College Dropout, Mad Villain, or Mad
Yep.
Villainy, albums like that from that,
Oh yeah.
05, 06, 07 era. It sounds like ass, but it's cool to have the
Yeah.
record, and then you
Yeah,
can get
exactly.
a vinyl press from an independent artist in 2020 and it sounds A1. You're like, how is this? How? Well,
Yeah.
regardless,
Yeah, yeah.
it was just so cool because when you would order vinyl, when I was working at Bull Moose, the computer would then take that as a sign that, oh, there's interest in this LP, and it would keep ordering
Mhm.
it. So I'd be,
Yep.
sometimes at a different store, and I'd be like, thumbing through vinyl. I'd be like, wow, I've never seen the Shining Instrumentals by Jay Dilla in any other store. I'm like, I wonder if
Fuck
that's here
yeah.
because of me. And then it's just like, oh shit, that's
Yep.
such a cool connective thing. So just shout out
Oh hell yeah.
discounts on music.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I have a question for you. What
Yeah, of
came
course.
first for Kid Calvin? Kid Calvin or Jay Dunks? Was it rapping or producing you were more interested in?
It was rapping first.
Yep, I
It
figured
definitely
that.
was rapping. Yeah. I did what I wasn't even expecting to like put out releases and have a name and do a whole thing. It was literally just like I was going through a tough time in my life. I've talked about it before, but like battling with alcoholism and a bad relationship and
Mm,
becoming a dad again and just
mm,
all kinds of crazy shit in my life. And so I missed making music. And I was like, I need to make music, but I can't rely on other people for a band. I got to do it like on my own time, like
mm,
my own thing. It's got to be like a personal thing.
mm.
So then I was like, you know what? I'm going to start rapping. Like, I can do this. Like I've been listening to it forever. I've always loved it. It's always been the first thing I put on. And I was like, well, hell, I'll do it. And then for the longest time, I was just a closet rapper. I didn't tell anybody I rap. None of my friends knew. Very few people knew. And then I think Ill by Instinct and Dynamo P were the first two people to like listen to my stuff and be like, no, you should like keep doing it. And then I met up with the Monday the Minds dudes, and then that just kind of opened it up, and I'm still doing it, I
I
guess.
love it. That's a great
Yeah.
encapsulation of your career. You mentioned you're going through some stuff with like alcoholism and stuff. Do you mind if I sip on camera? I want to be respectful
Oh
to you.
no, 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 you're
Sweet.
cool.
I know you be a flask and shit, so I want to make sure though.
Yeah,
Like I'm always
yeah,
respectful
no,
to people in their journeys with sobriety or certain substances or whatever it may be.
yeah.
It's important we show empathy, I think, in that regard.
Oh,
But
definitely, definitely.
um, were there any MCs though at the time you were listening to that maybe inspired you to spit, or was it more just your own interpersonal journeys through life that was the influence?
At the time, I was listening to a lot of Pusha T,
Hell
but then
yeah.
also a lot of Fora out of like Victorville, like High Desert area, California.
Huh. I don't think I've heard of that artist or that group or whatever
Yeah,
it may
so
be.
it's a dude. He's from out LA type of area. I'm not sure exactly what town. West
Mhm.
Coast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got put onto him and Reverie from out there. She's still doing stuff.
Yep. I think I heard of that
Um,
name.
what else was I listening to at the time? There was a lot of stuff. Guilty Simpson. I was like
Ooh. Was
getting
that
into.
like Dice Game, that era of Guilty
Yeah,
Simpson? That album's
Dice
Apollo
Game. That
Brown.
was yeah.
So hard.
That was on heavy
So
rotation.
same.
Like
I was in
yeah,
college, like trying to figure out my music identity in terms of writing and hip hop journalism.
yep,
Remember I reviewed that album on like my
yeah,
little blog I had, and I was like, this is so dope. Because I had fucked with trophies that
yep,
I think it's OC and Apollo Brown.
yep.
And then
That's how I got put on to Apollo Brown, kinda.
yeah, he's
That
so good.
one
I
with
think
OC. Like,
12 Reasons to Die. Oh, excuse me,
yep,
that was Adrian Young. Because I always
yeah,
get they both have a name that starts with A. I get them confused.
yeah.
But Adrian Young did 12 Reasons to Die. But I'm correct in this in some sense, because the Brown tape, I believe, is a flip of that whole project that Apollo Brown did too. So Apollo
Oh yeah.
Brown is really, really dope. And he had that amazing instrumental album. I forget what it's called, but it had the song Clouds on it. That's so good too.
Oh
He just
yeah.
did
I know
really,
what you're
really
talking about.
dope. And there was another album, I think Daily Bread with Hassan Maki. Have you ever heard that?
Oh yeah.
That's
Yeah.
another great
Hell
album.
yeah.
Shout out Dead and Hip Hop for tapping me into that
Hell
show
yeah.
back in like
Hell yeah.
2010.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah. Absol was also hugely influential. As soon as I heard Control System, that immediately switched it for me. I
Come
was like,
on, man.
oh, I could rap about some of the other shit too, but still have it kind of it was yeah. that was kind
album,
of game changing for me.
That album, so I got a new iPhone for my senior year birthday in high school.
Yeah.
It was late April. We graduated obviously in like early June-ish, mid-June-ish.
Yep.
And Control System was the only album I had on my phone at the time. I
Hell
remember
yeah.
I was so enamored by everything about that project, but just the range that Soul could bring in terms of his emotions.
Yeah.
Like you have like, almost like a fuck the system banger and terrorist threats. And then you have, these heart-wrenching, just heartbreaking songs like the
Oh
Book
my
of
God.
Soul. Book of
Book of
Soul, I think, is
Soul.
one of the hardest, or one of the most impressive performances in a hip hop song ever for me. Like
Yep.
some of
I
the
still
shit,
get goosebumps every time I
bro.
hear it.
I'm getting
It's
goosebumps in my
like
legs thinking of. You can't see
yeah.
anymore because now I'm aware of it. But I felt goosebumps creeping up my leg. Because I mean, for those who don't know at home, Ab Soul, was in this huge upkick in 2012 due to the whole Black hippie movement and the whole TDE movement really getting surged. Honestly, mostly because of Kendrick in the mainstream, but I'm not going to front, like J-Rock, Schoolboy Q, Ab Soul, and Kendrick as a whole were all getting major recognition. Like go watch like Zip That Chop That on YouTube if you want to kind of like see what the era I'm talking about. And Ab Soul was getting popping. I mean, like Danny Brown on that album. He was working with some of the other really big names who were coming up at the time.
Jean Aiko was on there.
Exactly. Yep.
That's how I discovered her.
She's so good too. And
constant play now.
I think too, who else is on that project? It's okay if I can't remember. But regardless of the fact, he had, I think, a lover since like high school or since they were like really young. And it's really sad, but we can't, run away from these moments because they happen to a lot of people. She jumped off a radio tower and killed herself. So I think somewhere in Los Angeles or, at least somewhere. And like pretty much right when Ab Soul's career is like starting to take off. And what does that do to your psyche, man? Like when your partner and she's on the album, like I'm pretty sure
Mhm.
she's on the album. And
Yeah.
I was big into the long-term mentality tapes and long-term
Mm.
and all those projects.
Yeah.
And she was on those. And Absol really has this beautiful, dedication to her and their relationship on the song called The Book of Soul.
Uh,
Like some of the most powerful lines in any hip hop song. I'm legit getting goosebumps thinking about
yeah.
it.
Same.
And it was so timely because he's like, what does he say? The Mayans were right. In 2012, my world ended, or something like that.
Yeah.
It's like, so the reason
Damn,
I'm
bro.
ranting about
Yeah.
this album is because it has a huge personal connection to me. I mean, I think of songs like Showing Love, and then I think of songs like Illuminate. Such
Yeah.
different vibes, but
Yeah.
like if I hear Showing Love in the whip, I'm taking my shirt off, I'm letting my chains hit the sun, I'm smoking something, I'm turning the bass
Hell
up all the
yeah.
way, and I'm going through town with the windows down because that
Yep.
song's hard as fuck. But then if I want to be moved by elite rap performances, I'm playing Illuminate. Regardless, though, I respect your taste. Absol, I have a lot of respect for as an MC just because of how much I listened to him as a youngin. And great answers. Moving on.
Thanks. Yeah.
When was the first time you recorded yourself?
First time I recorded. I'm trying to remember the year. Years get a little hazy.
Oh, I feel you, B.
You know, so
I feel
many
you.
blunts and beers ago. I feel like it was around 2012, maybe 2013. Some silly SoundCloud shit, but I was already like trying to produce, but I didn't have a DAW system or anything. I had a cheap laptop that didn't work, and then a boombox next to it. So I'd be like recording stuff onto the tape and then playing the tape back and like double looping it in like a Microsoft audio editor for a couple like weird things. So I did that. And then I think 2013 or 2014, I did the Time is the Enemy mixtape.
Perfect. That's a great segue, not to interrupt, because I was looking through your work and I thought I saw Time is the Enemy 2014. Was that your first project that you ever released?
Yes, I would
Sweet.
say that's the first project. It's
That's
all
the first
stolen
one.
beats off of YouTube though, so none of it is my beat. So sometimes people ask the first official, and I won't name anything until like it's one that I did myself, like
That's fair.
beats and everything.
What's your first official one for the people at home?
The first official was, oh fuck, you can catch me on the spot like this. I got so much stuff out.
Yeah, you do put out a lot of stuff, yeah.
Sorry.
No, expression is very important.
You got my Bandcamp up on there?
I don't, but I can pull it up. What I was gonna say is you stay dropping projects after that. After Time is the Enemy. It's almost like, you're homaging that theme that, hey, time is the enemy. I want to steady make some music out here. The first project or one of the first ones I saw from you was at least solo was, I think, Bongwater Blues. But I feel like that's a little bit later though in your discography, a couple of years at least.
Yeah, Bongwater Blues. Yeah, that was last year.
Oh, really?
2012.
No shit. 2020, you mean?
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah.
Well, we're talking about Control System. Who cares?
Yeah, man, I'm lost. Stuck in 2020 now.
Hey, right, bro. I mean, part of my soul still in that year. It's when I graduated high school. A lot happened for me.
Oh hell yeah. Actually, the first official would be Offbeat Static, and that's when I was producing under the name JD180. So that was pre-J Dunks. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Well, for the people at home, make sure you go check that. Was it Offbeat Static? Offbeat Static. That's the first official Kid Calvin self-produced tape.
Yeah.
If you're looking for another one, I enjoy the Bongwater Blues. I think it's one of those projects where I see the album cover, I see the title, I'm like, I'm gonna play a couple songs, and then I think I'm just gonna immediately like just click with what this artist is trying to do. And that's definitely like those hazy, late night. You got reruns on the TV, maybe a little too stoned, but just at the right level still. You're not like in Catonic, I'm stuck here for 4 hours state.
No.
You maybe got some snacks you're digging into, and then you're feeling like a little mellow, but a little melancholy, but you're still feeling good. That's kind of the vibe.
That deep vibe. Yeah, that's exactly it. You nailed it on the head.
Tremendous.
Perfect.
Appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So for the people at home, we're gonna get more into recent endeavors from Kid Calvin, but it really just no offense. It take a lot of time for me to break down everything you drop in your
Yeah,
Bandcamp because you steady drop. But please
yeah.
peep it. And
Sorry.
remember, Bandcamp's one of the few websites that actually kind of helps artists when you listen to their music and buy it through them.
Yep.
So definitely shout out that.
Yes.
Because before we talk about some more solo stuff, I would like to get into. You mentioned an artist earlier, Dynamo P. I
Oh
would
yeah.
like to get into Skywriters.
Yeah.
How did that form? Like, how did you start to really connect with Dynamo? Was that through Monday of the Minds, or how did that form?
Me and Pat kind of go way back. He's like one of the first few friends I met down here. I the first time, well, the only time I got to sit in on the Appleton radio show with JT Bison and Ghost or Ryan Augustus.
Yep.
We sat down, we did a graffiti thing, and P was living in the area, and he just popped in, and he was like, "Oh, you write this?" I'm not gonna say it, but and I was like, "Oh yeah," and he's like, "Oh, I do this," and then we just kind of hit it off and kind of talked every so often. We see each other like in town or at shows or like at a graffiti jam or whatever.
Mm.
And I always kind of supported his music, and like I said, I was the first person, or he was the first person I reached out with my music, and like he like came over and helped me with some stuff. We were like vibing. I was showing him what I was working on, and he gave me some pointers, and um we kind of been homies for a while. And then I ended up he had been working at Whole Foods for a while, and then I got hired on
Oh shit.
not too long ago. Well, it's going on 3 years now. In November it'll be 3 years. But he was working there too, so like ever since we started working together, we started like really talking. And then I got on his Extortion projects, and then he got on 2 songs on the Coolin album. And then I was like, yo, I got all these beats from Jay Wisdom. Like, do you want to do something? Like, let's just
Perfect.
bang these out.
That was my next question, because was Notes from the Underground your first project together?
Yeah.
Sweet. I figured it was. I think it was.
Yeah.
That came out what, in 2020, maybe 2019?
Yeah, 2020, I feel like.
Yeah, I think Skywriters.
Yeah, it was literally just a year ago.
Because you guys drop a lot of music for like how recent it seems like you've kind of spawned Skywriters. And
yeah.
I wanted to make sure I had my chronology right.
Yeah.
Would you consider Taking Flights like your official debut album as Skywriters?
Yeah, I would say so. Like that's after we decided to have the name. And like you search up Skywriters, you'll come up with that. I don't think you'll come up with the other one. I think it's listed under just like a collabo project between the three of us.
Yeah.
So then we were just like coming up with a name when we were working on this new project, because all the beats were completely different. And he was like, oh, what about, this song from Notes of the Underground, Skywriters? That's a perfect name. Like graffiti, everything, like just what we're doing. Kind of like gives you the idea of like, it reminds me of like the blimp on fucking Scarface. The world is yours. It just like kind of has that vibe, without being like too into that, if you know what I mean. Like,
I feel you. Oh, definitely.
So yeah, that was the first Skywriters official.
What do you think allows you and Dynamo P, who's also been on Benny Script, so check that at home if you haven't peeped it yet, another veteran out here. But what do you think allows the two of you to work so well together?
We're very much the same people. Like just how we approach art and music and life in general, and just like the levels that we're on and how we create. Like we vibe in our own houses, do our own thing, like in between pockets of time, in between working and taking care of kids and doing the normal like dad life shit. Like I'm gonna be 40 in like a week here, and I believe Pat's over 40 now. Like, so we just kind of vibe on that same level, and we can put out music real fast. We can bounce verses back and forth real quick. Like we feed off of each other. Like sometimes he'll send me something, and I'll just like, fuck, okay, I gotta write to this. Like, this is amazing. And like my creativity like goes through the roof, like right after a writer's block, or vice versa. Like I'll send him something and he's like, oh, lightning spark. Here we go. And, just like the way we work, and it's very like low key, and like Yeah, I don't know.
No, no,
It's
that's a
just,
great
yeah,
answer.
it's very smooth. It's very natural and organic.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
Well, for the people at home, make sure you remember to go and peep Skyriders music. I think most of it's on your Bandcamp, correct? Like the Kid
it
Calvin
is.
Bandcamp. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sweet.
Bandcamp is where you can find like everything.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet. Let's keep it in the realm of community and collaboration. You mentioned this important institution, actually the place that gave me my first official show, and that is Flask Lounge, and more specifically
Oh yeah.
Monday of the Minds on Monday nights. What was your
Yeah.
first memory of that? What was your initial thoughts that led you to go in and try and be performer there?
Uh Performing, that was a different story, but just getting there.
Yeah, start with that then first.
So
Yeah.
like I was already a rap night regular at the old asylum when the stage was upstairs. That was in my heavy drinking days for a while there before I decided to actually start doing it. But like I remember being, watching my friends up there freestyling and being
Yeah.
like, man, I want to do that. I've got to do it. But I'm like, my confidence level is hella low, so
Mhm.
I wasn't ready yet.
Feel you.
But and then just being online and like being into local artists, I discovered Monday of the Minds happening, and I had never gone. It was like it was within the first year, and I was just like looking for something to do. I was like having a stressful day after work, and Ben Shore like reached out and he's like, "Yo, Monday of the Minds is happening tonight. I'm playing. These people are playing. I believe it was like Miles Bullen, a couple of other people. I'm forgetting on who it was because it was the first one so long ago."
Mm.
And I walked over there, walked over the bridge from Sopo, and I was like, yeah, this is my vibe. Like this is all the misfits, like all the kids I grew up with that listen to hip hop, like what people are calling the park kids now, like people who are just chilling in the park all day, like skating
Mm.
and causing trouble and just trying to live their lives, escaping some fucked up shit, but like all around being good people. Like, and that was the vibe. And like ever since then, I try to make it a daily thing, or like every time it was happening, I try
Yeah,
to make a
monthly
thing.
or weekly, whatever it is. Monday,
Yeah,
monthly.
bi-weekly. Yeah, it's so long
Bi-weekly.
ago now.
Right.
It's been a while.
Stay tuned.
Uh,
Hopefully, I've been seeing some cryptic message or
oh
posts
yeah,
on Instagram. So I'm
hell
like,
yeah. So like, yeah, and I've always worked hella early. So once I started doing that, I started taking Tuesdays off from work. So my old job, I was like, Tuesdays I'm not working.
I
And then
like
when I
that.
got hired at Whole Foods, I'm like, Tuesdays I'm not working. Like just no, it's not happening.
I
And
need
then that
that. I
became
need
my
that
like
Monday.
ritual. Yeah, it became like a therapy thing. It was like I could tell like if I missed a night like a week, I'd be like really itching, be like,
No
fuck
shit.
man, I missed out. FOMO. Like, I don't know, but like, it helps like boost my confidence and like helping with freestyling abilities and just being away. I love my kids, but like just being with some peers that aren't coworkers.
Yeah, you
You
need
know what I
to.
mean? You need that
You need
like
you like that's so
that
like never
community
forget that.
aspect.
You
Yeah.
need that. Everyone needs that. Like
I say that as a mad introvert who loves his home life. And yeah, I'm real cozy here, but
oh, we straight cozy
it's
over here
still,
too.
yeah, I see. I see. Yeah. But yeah, mine's was, man, it just, yeah, it was a community feeling. It was always loving,
Oh yeah.
like always welcome vibe. Anybody was welcome there. Yeah.
Community and Monday the Minds are like hand in
Yeah,
hand or finger to finger,
exactly.
hand to
Yeah.
hand. There you
Yeah. Peanut butter
go.
and jelly.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, let's keep it in the MOTM vibes. You talked about first impressions as a fan, as a listener, but when was the first time you ever performed there?
The first time it was on an open mic and I did a song. I was hella nervous, but I practiced it for like weeks on end, for hours and hours, hundreds of thousands of times. And I believe I like went through real well. Everybody said I did awesome. Um, I don't really remember it that much.
Mm,
Sometimes like performing live, I'm like in a blur a little bit. Like,
you black out.
yeah, like it's very animalistic, I guess. Like it's something deep in there and you just vibe out. And sometimes I like forget how like how it went until people are like, bro, you did amazing. I'm like, really? I fucked up on this line and this line. And they're like, what? Like,
We didn't notice that.
yeah, just because I'm my own worst critic, you know.
Oh, 1,000,000%. We are all our worst critics.
Yeah,
Hell yeah. Well, that was my
but
little
yeah,
Monday the Minds. Unless you have anything else you want to add about Monday.
nah. I mean, there's a lot to be said about it.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm so grateful
Yeah.
too because I got to do my first show there. Like I mentioned, it's another thing I bring up a lot on the podcast, but I just might to remember, who gives you opportunities. And I probably could
Yeah.
have, hit up because I had a pretty good bill that night, but I could have hit
Yeah.
up, another venue, but Monday the Minds let me do that just for community. Like
Oh hell yeah.
I just got to put that
Yep.
on. And
Yeah.
that's why it's even more special to have it that room that packed with everybody. So many people
Oh
who
yeah.
didn't even perform were there from the scene.
Yeah.
And I was just like, shit,
It's
this is
so
special.
intimate. It reminds me of the old punk shows, like old
Hmm.
basement shows. Like that
Underground
was,
shit.
real underground stuff. That's stuff I grew up on. So like that probably also drew me into that
Hmm.
that aspect. And then it also helps a lot of touring bands. We've met so many people touring, coming through Maine, being like, this is the most love we've had in a while, like wanting to come back. Like Marcel P. Black,
Hmm.
he's been back like 2 or 3 times now,
Hell
something
yeah.
like that. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
a lot of folks love coming up here because it's a fun vibe. It's like
it is. It's
very
different. Very
heart.
different.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, shout out Monday. Shout out all they
Yes.
do. I honestly, hope that more venues like that can continue to grow in Portland
Mhm.
because it sounds like I just missed the era of, the asylums, the stations, even like the Big Easies,
Yeah.
like those kind of venues where, again, I'm not from that era, so I could be capping and be talking out of my ass, but it's a lot harder to put on like, a cheap, ground up, just community show. Like I
Yeah.
can't do that at State Theater. I can't
No.
do that at even when I was around, rest in peace, Port City. It'd be
Yeah.
pretty tough to imagine to do that at P Home still. Like, but there's certain like just financial constraints that put you out of a lot of institutions, especially it's like, why would I want to go heavy in the red to put on a show?
Yeah.
I'd
Exactly.
be okay with going, I would be okay with spending even like a little bit of bread if it was a monumental show where people took something from it. But still,
Yeah.
I gotta eat. I gotta make sure I don't go broke. I mean, this country gonna take us all down. The cost of living goes up and wages
Yo,
go this
for
way. It's
real.
like, come on, bro. Like everyone wants to pretend like, you can have some positive statement about what's going on in America, but literally the rich people are like not just like your rich friend who has a nice house in Falmouth, like the stupid rich who live like on the private island
Yeah.
shit. They're just evading taxes
Oh, for
and
real.
causing
Yeah.
so much in the business world too, like the people like the Bezoses and the Buffetts and all whatever the fuck it
Mhm.
is, people like that who have huge tax cuts too. It's like I don't fully know anything I'm talking about. I don't know all like the independent variables about these worlds, but I know that the people who write the laws and the people who make the most money at the top are one and the same for the most part, because all you got to
Mhm.
do is send a lobbying check towards somebody and everything's fine for them. And
Yep.
we're getting the brunt of that. I mean, look at this COVID world. I mean, people are
Yeah.
fucked. Like
Yeah.
it's wild. So
Mhm.
I remember it's so importantly to like don't take that for granted because you start to slip on your health. Guess what happens? Hospital bills, health
Yep.
insurance, medicine, prescriptions, things like that. And
Yeah.
guess what? Prescriptions could be addictive too. And that's a whole different thing to get
A
into.
whole nother
Shout
thing.
out
Yep.
cannabis for being there instead. But regardless, it's
Yes.
like this country low key. I'm not saying there's like some conspiracy where they sit everyone who like runs the country down to like, here's what we're gonna do. No, they just understand that more people who are sick, more people who aren't doing that well financially, who are like kind of caught in these cycles of spending, more
Yep.
people who just aren't healthy mentally, financially, physically, they're going to probably spend more money
Yep.
and
That's
they're
it.
going to keep the cycle going. And that's
Yeah.
what people at the top want. And that's just so fucking gross to me.
It's
I'm
so
like,
fucked up.
I
Yeah.
don't like that. I get that.
People
Like,
are prophets.
I get
Yeah.
that we have our freedoms and we have a lot, better, uh, systems perhaps in a lot of other parts of the world. But at the same time, I'm like, I've only lived in this country and I see what happens in this country. And I don't want to use the fact that we have, a couple of good fruits in this basket, ignore the fact that there's a lot of rotten fruit we should probably start to pick out and fix
Exactly. Yeah.
and or at least clean
Exactly.
and grow some new fruit. So remember, just you got to take your life seriously when you live in America, because it may seem like all glitz and glamour and fun until you get that, health insurance bill or you get that like
Yep.
car insurance
For
bill. You're like,
real. Then
fuck,
you're fucked.
because
Yeah.
then money and time get correlated. You're like,
Yep.
should I have to work 8 weeks
Yeah.
without like taxes getting taken out to
Yeah.
pay for this? Then I got to pay for my bills. I bet people are already
Yeah.
tuned out because this isn't a fun topic. But seriously, take your fucking finances seriously, because
Yes.
America will take you out. And that's why I want more cheap venues in the area. We can do
Real
startup
talk.
shows. That's
Real
my
talk.
that's my Benny's crib. Take your
Fuck
fucking
yeah.
life seriously. Spiel.
Hell yeah. And support small venues.
1,000,000%. And small businesses and
Yeah.
independent
And
artists.
yes.
And just, as much as I love all these, like, there's a lot of great restaurants that, like, white families and white groups own out here. Go support Black business, go support
Yep.
brown business, go support businesses that just aren't white people who are going to be fine regardless if you get food from them that night. And that
Exactly.
like people may be
Yep.
like, what do you mean by that? It's just like, seriously, like, if there's certain things that you really care about, keep spending money at them. Like, you don't need to go to like a Domino's every time you want pizza. Go to some local pizza place that might be $10 more per pie. But
Yep.
you know in your heart it's going to keep them going. That's how I view it. Do at the end of the day, actually. But
no, 100%. Yeah.
I respect you bringing that up because that's important to me too.
Yeah.
One hit allowed, and I become friggin' all these rants about local politics, community organization, being there for each other.
All good.
I'm
It's all good, man.
No, it's
just letting the tree speak, man. Yeah,
it's true.
It's real talk.
These are important topics, and that's why I get so passionate.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that, dude.
Hey, much love, much appreciation. Yeah. Well, let's get into something that I think is a little silly. Might take some of the angry energy out of me here. And that is going to be the rapid fire questions. I think you know the rapid fire segment, Kid Calvin, correct?
Yeah, I believe I'm aware.
You ready for these kind of silly quick questions?
Yeah, why not? You're not going to get quick answers, but I know that's not expected.
Exactly. It's not about rapid fire more. It's like the terminology that people know. It's more first impression. Like when I say this, what comes to mind?
Yeah.
You a listener.
I got you.
You copped a hoodie. We got love for you.
Yeah.
Go. Favorite album cover.
Favorite album cover.
Or one of them.
Damn. Favorite album cover. That's a tough one. I'm gonna say Songs in the Key of by Stevie Wonder. There's something about the colors.
I want to take that vinyl. I have an original pressing with the booklet still in it of that album.
Oh, hell yeah. That's dope. That's one of my favorites. I have an older one too. I don't know what era. It's pretty banged up. It was a Goodwill find, honestly.
That's still huge. I mean, that album is beyond incredible.
Hugely influential.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Stevie Wonder might have the most elite catalog, like hits
for real,
in different eras too. He keeps going. Someone else I want to say has that too is Curtis Mayfield.
Yes.
I forget what group he was in. Was it the Commodores? I don't really remember. I think I'm tripping.
Commodores.
Actually, no. I got
Lionel Richie. I know.
That's okay. That's what happens. I know there's two singers that I always cross the groups.
Yep.
Like how I was doing Adrian Young and Apollo Brown. I think I almost, my brain got so molded by reading growing up that I almost like put things in like list and sentences or something in my head. Yeah. So when I speak, I almost read it subconsciously. And that's why I have like certain things or themes, but I'm also a big visual thinker too. I don't know.
Yep. Regardless. Yeah, no, I get you. I feel you. Yeah.
I appreciate it. I appreciate the the Impressions. That's what I was, not the Commodores. Yeah. I believe he was in the Impressions. Yeah. So Curtis Mayfield has, 1960s soul music, obviously. Then he has like that 70s still soul, but a little bit more brass, a little bit more almost like pre-disco elements in a sense.
Yes.
Amazing music. Curtis Mayfield's just astounding. And then Curtis even goes and makes music in the more I think 90s and 2000s. And just transcendent, like artists like Stevie Wonder, like Curtis Mayfield, who can keep reinventing themselves decade after decade. I'm like, how are you doing this? So shout out Stevie Wonder.
Yeah.
Let's get back to the rapid fire. Late nights or early mornings?
Yes. To both. No. Lately it's early mornings for me.
Yeah, I'm getting up.
So my alarm's going off at 3 a.m. I'm punching in at work at 5 a.m.
Damn. Wait, what time you got to wake up tomorrow morning?
Huh?
What time do you got to wake up tomorrow morning?
3 a.m.
Do you waking up at 3 and you did this at 8:30?
Yeah.
Bro, you a real one.
Let's
keep this going then. I don't want to get, you're going to catch me on another like anti-fucking, capitalism rant or a cannabis rant or a food rant. So let's keep it going. I'm big on sleep. I think we all need more sleep.
Yeah.
So depending on the time, you could be up late or you could be early. Go ahead. Beaches or lakes?
Beaches, 100%.
a favorite local food spot.
Local food spot. I'm gonna say Green Elephant, even though I haven't eaten there in years.
That's some great
Uh,
food. It's vegan and stuff.
Yeah, so like I kind of knew the owners when they were first opening that up. I was still living in Bangor
Yeah.
before I moved down here. Um, and they were just always super nice people, and I was like big on that vegan kick, and that was the only spot open, and I ate there so much.
Yeah.
And like because we were some of the first few people that were coming in, they were like giving us bigger portions and being like, "Yo, try this, try
Real
this," and it
ones.
was just like super welcoming, and it was just a vibe at the time.
Love that.
Yeah, but also I miss Granny's Burrito down on 4th Street. It hasn't been there in forever, but it used to be the burrito spot after getting out of hardcore shows at the Asylum way back late 90s, early 2000s, back when FSU was kind of running the Asylum. But yeah, it'd be hardcore shows. We'd be getting out at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. We all walk down to 4th Street. Granny's Burrito, fucking huge ass burritos, like ones you'd find in Cali and stuff. And
A
just
drunk burrito's elite.
uh
You like, especially like a
yeah,
California
dude.
burrito, like the
Yeah.
peppers, black beans, and steaks. I
Yeah.
don't eat beef hella a lot, but when
Yeah.
I do, it's like select things like steak and eggs. I love that shit. Like a steak and potatoes,
Yep.
in a burrito or not. It's like, oh my god. But
Yeah.
regardless, a
Hell
drunk
yeah.
burrito hits, or even just a late night burrito. Something about eating food late night special.
Yeah.
Oh, shout out Taco Trio too. That's kind of in your neck of the woods, right?
Yeah. Taco
Yeah.
Trio is mad good.
That's probably one of my favorite spots in the area
Yep.
for food. Speaking of California burritos,
Yeah.
favorite venue you've ever played at?
Favorite venue. That's a tough one. I'm gonna say Monday of the Mines.
Love
But
that.
however, the first time performing live, I was on the stage at Asylum on the last show before they closed, before renovation. It was like their 6th or 7th year anniversary. I was mad nervous, and I performed 2 songs, but I had a blast. It was a fucking wild time. Some dude jumped up on the stage. I don't know, he was trying to dance or something. The bouncers had to like kick him out. His friends after were like, "I'm so sorry about my friend. He was all fucked up." And I was like, "Nah, don't worry. I got him hyped, man. That's cool." Like,
That is cool.
It was all love. So yeah, the Asylum and Flask Lounge are probably my
Tremendous.
favorite. But I just want to say I want to go back to Fodian. I love the vibe there.
That place is wild.
If that's ever gonna be a thing again, I don't know.
Were you at the graphic show, but you did a beat
Yeah.
showcase? I think I was there for that
I
too.
did that. Yeah.
Because
I just
Mozart
like
was
the
there. Yeah.
it's just a cool spot. Like
That place, Flask
Yeah.
and Sun Tiki are like my favorite. I think like vibes for like keeping community shit oriented. In my
Yeah.
opinion. Like
I
Like I
need to
said-
get to Sun Tiki. I've yet to go. I've never been able to go yet.
it's tremendous.
It's on my list. I'm so bummed I've never got to see resample or anything.
Oh
yet,
man,
but-
don't even get me. If you gotta go to bed early, don't even get me started, dude.
Sorry.
That's all love. All right. Would you rather have to live on an animal farm and work your whole life, or live on a vegetable farm and work your whole life?
Animal Farm.
Favorite time of the day to record?
Ooh. Depends on if I'm working that day or not. Honestly, early morning is real fucking fun. I've recorded whole albums mad early.
That's dope.
Just like coming in, like wake up with my coffee, my weed, like on a day off, and just like do the thing and just bang it out real quick.
I love
That's
that.
such a good feeling. Also, coming home after work and busting out like a verse for the Skywriters project, it was also like a phenomenal feeling. Like feel accomplished. And then you go, I go to work the next day and listen to it on my headphones, and I'm like, yeah, okay.
That is wicked dope, yo. It's
So,
very like
yeah.
in the moment and organic in a sense.
Yeah.
1 second. Ask next. That's loaded. Sweet. What's a goal you still have?
A goal I still have. Man, I don't even know. To get a dream job, honestly. To be able to support my family off of art or working in the cannabis field.
Great goals. Very
That
great
would
goals.
be ideal for me to
Hell yeah.
get out of the whole 9 to 5 thing. And
Yeah,
just,
man.
you know.
Hit you with 10 to 6.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I got a 10 to 6. I'm very lucky.
Yeah.
But regardless, which I just like pause. I'm like, this question is so silly. Sometimes I just get in a flow state. I'll just get all my
Yeah.
questions out in 10 minutes, and then
Oh, hell
like
yeah.
I'll skim them real quick before I interview, just to make sure I didn't
Yeah.
have anything wrong. But I won't like
Yeah.
nitpick it too much. This is my last rapid fire question. Would you rather be stuck in a fire or stuck in a sub-zero blizzard?
Oh shit.
It's like that's a survival question.
Yeah. Oh man, I fucking hate the cold so much. I like prefer sweating to death over freezing to death, even though I know I can layer up, but it's still I don't like to. Like I don't know.
You finna
There's
get naked
something about
instead.
being in the heat. Yeah, maybe that's it. But I just like being in the heat. Like I don't know.
So you'd
I
rather
don't know.
you'd rather be in the fire.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah,
I don't
burn
hate
me
it.
up. Yeah,
I don't hate it at all.
it seems fitting. The amount of tree I've smoked. I should be burned.
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly.
Kid Calvin, you survived the rapid fire.
Oh yes. Woo.
And amazing segue into the current year, 2021. You've been working a lot still. You've dropped some solo stuff. You dropped some Skyrider stuff. I think you worked with Seven Quarters. That's another New England producer, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Sweet.
New Hampshire. Well, now he's out in Kentucky.
Oh,
Just
interesting.
relocated.
Yep.
But he
Hell
was
yeah.
bouncing between New Hampshire and Portland area.
Gotcha.
Maine. Yeah.
And then also you have the Sourpuss EP coming up. Do you want to
Yep.
break down that at all for the people at home? Promote it.
Yeah. The Sourpuss EP. It's just a bunch of songs that aren't my normal beats I use. The very new school trappy beats. But honestly, I listen to a lot of new school rap, and I was just like, I just wanted some beats to have fun over, and just with no real end in mind, just a rap.
Just to express.
Just to express the art of just getting it out and trying my hand at different stuff, which is pretty on par with my whole catalog. If you listen to all my stuff, it's all a little different. I
True.
like to experiment. It's another one of those. It's a quick thing. The Sourpuss thing came about just a tag I was doing, and I came across it like looking through my black book, and I was like, oh, this is kind of dope. I made like an original cover that had it on it, and I was like, I was already had 3 of the songs like half done, and I was like, I should just like make a little EP. I changed up the cover and everything, but kept the title. So it is what it is. It's 5 tracks. The last song is like a cipher track, kind of.
Oh yeah.
It's gonna have Rigatoni. It's got Arms from the Sanford Biddeford area. It's got Dynamo P and JT Dirty. We're just waiting on one verse to come in, and then I'll get that out. Everything else is done on it. I've been waiting for a while. And then I got other stuff currently in the works. The way I create is I'm always coming up with new ideas, like as an artist, like not just as a musician, as just like with my painting and other art, my visual art. I slowly work on things. So like I'll start creating this song that sounds completely different than this other song, and things start forming, and then I'm like, oh, I have an idea for this album, like where it all kind of sounds kind of cohesive. Like I have a thing for like cohesive albums, so where it all is like all the beats are kind of the same beat, well not the same beat, but like kind of a vibe.
Yeah,
Like
same
cooling
realm.
like yeah,
Definitely
all,
understand what you're saying.
yeah. So I constantly have these things that I'm slowly working on, and eventually they come about. Like the Curse verses I had been working on for a while before they actually got released. And then same with Cooling, like that was over a 2-year span, just like slowly working on it. Bongwater Blues was in between all of that, like bits and pieces, stuff that didn't really fit. A lot of the Bongwater Blues was like me at work, like just writing quick things here and there. Some of the songs I'll like just record vocals and then I'll put a beat over after.
Huh.
Other times I'm writing to the beat. Um, and sometimes like I recorded the original ideas in my car on break and go home the next like the day and like get that out.
Hustling.
Just yeah, just like whenever I'm feeling it, because sometimes I'm not feeling it and I'm just like in a
that.
creative block. So I don't know. I feel like if I'm feeling it and I have the time, I gotta do it when I can. Like
100%. That's
you
like
know,
one of the biggest things is understanding
yeah,
when you're feeling in the zone and having that
yeah,
awareness to be like, I might not get this back for a little bit. I got to make sure I I take this seriously.
yeah,
That's one of the biggest life hacks is time management. Like, kill your ego. Don't do what you want to do.
yeah.
At the end of the day, do what actually that's not even true. Like, do what you want to do, but define want. Like, are you looking for like momentary pleasure or overall life happiness? That's
Mhm.
kind of how I tell myself. Like, I'll have my little moments of pleasure. You know, you have that slice of cheesecake, you stay up late that night, you
Yeah,
skip a workout, you skip something, whatever it may be. But remember, like the long-term goal. Like, you really want to have some self-integrity. That way, when you look in the mirror, you're happy with what you're doing. But
yeah.
again, it's just me
Agreed.
getting on a little
Yeah,
tangent. Well, Kid Calvin, it's been a good interview here. We're winding down to the kind
thanks,
of the
man.
end questions. Three that I kind of always ask now to end it. First one is, what was the silver lining from the pandemic last year and even maybe some parts of this year? Like that was a really negative thing in all of our lives. So I kind of like to flip it and be like, well, what's something positive that came out of it for you?
Positive for me. Um,
If you can, don't feel like you got to force it either.
yeah, no. So like honestly, it wasn't that tough for me. I still worked. I worked through the whole thing. I
And
was
you're an
working at Whole
introvert,
Foods.
you said, right?
Yeah, I was an introvert. So like a lot of times we'd be joking, like me and some of my other buddies were like, uh, we were already living like this. Like this is already kind of what we're doing, but now the whole world has to deal with it. So like I feel like a lot of extroverts really did struggle, but a lot of people's lives were affected because of jobs. I
Mm,
just happened to be lucky enough where I had a job that I
very
could
true.
stay working in.
It's
But
good
prior
awareness.
to working at Whole Foods, I was working in the health services. I was working with adults with brain injuries in residential settings. Before that, I was working with kids with autism in residential settings. So, like, I don't know where I would be now if I was still working in those fields when COVID hit.
Yeah,
Like, I
man.
have no idea how that would have affected that. So I've learned to be very grateful for what I have.
It's a
It's
superpower,
the
man.
first time in my life where I've been kind of set financially, not like set, but like comfortable.
Comfortable. Jinx.
Where you're like, oh yeah, I did get paid today. Like when you don't have to be like waiting for that pay to drop so you
Yeah,
could buy groceries. You know what
that's
I mean? Like
huge.
just already
Yeah,
being like, oh yeah, I did get paid. Cool.
yeah.
Like
Let's keep it
no
going.
sweat, like I'm just
I like
moving.
that.
That's I I'm very grateful, and like my home life has been great with my kids and my girlfriend. She's been amazing. She's honestly like my best friend. I know it's corny to say,
No,
people say
that's a
that, but
beautiful
like
thing.
no, I mean like I really found a partner who like supports me and helps me with music, and like she's already helping me like write songs for other stuff, and she's introduced me to all sorts of music. She's the one that got me onto like artists like Amine, and then like searching on newer artists like Smino and Toby Lou and shit like that, and like
Hell
really
yeah.
opening up my like what I view I could do or what music can be, like just really exploring shit. So
That's
like
awesome.
yeah, it's been a real creative process, honestly.
Well,
2020 brought a lot of creativity.
yeah. I'm glad that it treated you
Yeah,
moderately to decently well then, man. Like
yeah, I was lucky.
shout out gratitude.
Yes, for real.
More business question, unless there's anything else you want to say about 2020.
No,
Sweet.
that's good. Yeah, no.
Um, but yeah, more business question.
Yeah.
What are your social media handles, or where can just people contact you if they would like?
So I'm on Instagram as Kid Calvin 81. I'm on Facebook as Ked Calvin, Khed.
What
That's
up, Ked?
my personal thing, Ked. Um, but I also got a Facebook like artist profile if you want to hop on that, which I'm not great at promotion as much as some people are. You'll
Yeah.
find I don't post that often on the IG. When I do, it might be something interesting, maybe. But my social, like you can find me in all streaming sites. I'm on
Yeah.
everything. And then the more hidden gems you can find on my Bandcamps and my SoundClouds.
Tremendous.
And just Kid Calvin. Spelled
Where'd you get the
normal.
name from, by the way? I just wanted to ask that.
Yeah, Calvin and Hobbes. Huge influence. That's how I got into art. One of the main things. Just copying comics like as a kid and just really vibing with that kid. That was me as a kid. Just real snarky and smart alecky, like too smart for his own good. You know what I
Definitely.
mean? But like
Definitely.
good hearted, it meant well, but like just exploring the world. And that was me. And thinking about what I wanted to portray as an artist, it was very much like getting back to the roots, me trying to figure out like who I was again. It was
That
very
youth.
much like, yeah, getting back to that youth side of things.
I love that.
Yeah, and I was like Kid Calvin, like it just fit. Like I was trying to find a way to do work Calvin into the mix, and that's how it happened.
I love
it just
that,
works.
man.
Yeah,
I
rolls
love
off the tongue nicely. Yeah,
taking care of your inner kid, man.
yeah, definitely.
Because low key, I think a lot of adults are still their inner kid, just the traumatized version of that kid. So if you can
definitely
heal that
100%,
kid,
yes.
because I go through dips. I'm like, hey, I'm feeling good today. And I'm
Yeah.
like, why do I feel like I'm like 10 and I ain't shit? I'm like, it's because you have trauma, B. You gotta take
Yep.
some breaths and heal and be in the present. I'm like, all right, you're right, man. All
Yeah,
right.
you
But
right.
shout out also though, maintaining that youth, maintaining that kid, but you know, like
Yeah,
like almost like it's a balance of your healthy adult perspective and that energy you had as a kid in one.
exactly. Yeah,
Hell yeah.
yeah. I like to say I'm a young old soul.
I feel it.
I'm 40, but you would not know that looking at me or talking to me.
Yeah.
Nobody would ever realize that at all. But I am an old soul. I have old man qualities, you know.
Yeah.
People pull up near my house. I'm like, yo, who's that? Like, what's going on? Like, it's just old man shit, you know.
Just getting
Don't touch the
nosy, man.
thermostat. Like,
Yeah. Close the door when you're done with the
close the
fridge.
door. Yeah. Turn off the lights. You know, normal shit. Put your plates in the sink.
It be like that, man.
You know,
It really do.
Yeah, that's how it be. But yeah.
Well, Kid Calvin, old, young Kid Calvin. We are pretty much nearing the end here. I have my final question. You're probably gonna know what it is. Unless you have anything else you want to say, I'm ready to drop it on you.
All right, lay it on me.
Where will Kid Calvin, J Dunks, whoever you want to call yourself as for this question, be 1 year from now?
1 year from now. That's a good question. I will be a better version than I am now, hopefully. Hopefully, I will be having some official music videos. If I can get on the ball with that. Hopefully, I'll be promoting my shit a little more professionally. I have a couple projects in the works that are definitely like on a different side, more like R&B type stuff. Except I can't sing, so it's a little bit different.
Gotcha.
Anti-pop type shit. You know, little shit out of the pocket.
I feel you. I feel you.
And then some other stuff mixed in. So yeah, you're gonna just see like me growing as an artist, just continuing to work with other people and just doing things and hopefully not working as much at my 9 to 5 and hopefully working more on art.
That's a beautiful thing. That's
Yeah.
all we can desire at the end of the day,
Exactly.
right?
Yep. Exactly.
Sweet. Kid Calvin, it's been great hearing your story. Sourpuss EP. Look for that
Sourpuss
soon.
EP. Yes.
And Skywriters, Bandcamp,
Yes.
Kid Calvin. That's where you find the solo stuff, the Skywriter stuff, beats, whatever. And just big shout out to Money the Minds too. I want to shout them out.
Yes.
All righty.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Thanks
It was
for
great
having
talking
me,
with you,
man.
man. And have a great night.
Thanks, you too.
Peace.
Peace.